Hello, friends. Nayaswami Raman here in the program Ask a Yogi. Today's question also came to me from someone in India, and it's a very interesting question. As per the Bhagavad Gita, how do you know you have met the right person for marriage? I suppose I could add to this, how can one attract the right person for marriage? Now, I admit that most of you viewing this don't have that question. Either you are married or you don't wish to be married. In any case, it's still an interesting question because we might have a son or a daughter or a friend or a niece or a nephew who wonders about this same question. Marriage is, of course, a very intimate and personal relationship. Because of its intimacy, meaning its closeness, it activates and, in fact, is the energy that generates the desire for the relationship as well as the magnetism that attracts the relationship, comes from the past more than the present. Meaning it comes from our karma, it comes from our subconscious. So it is with having children, but that's not today's topic. We're talking about marriage. And so all the efforts to go on dating websites and all the efforts, whether one's parents arrange your marriage or whether you try to arrange it by comparing astrology or whatever we do with our conscious mind in regards to finding our partner, is basically somewhat limited because, quote, falling in love, as the very verb implies, is something outside your conscious control. Now, I'm not suggesting you just fall for just anybody with a handsome face or a pretty face and figure, but I am suggesting that we need to understand that when it comes to such a powerful form of attraction in this world, that we're dealing with forces and influences and tendencies that we're barely conscious of. You know, in the old days, long ago, there used to be an expression in my growing up that blondes had more fun. Well, why are you attracted to a person with particular characteristics of race or blonde or brunette or all those silly kinds of things? But you really can't say. You simply are. And so some marriages are made in heaven and others are made in the other place, let's face it. And we all know from experience in this culture that approximately 50% of the marriages end in divorce. So this is a fairly important question, in other words, in terms of our own happiness. If you're perfectly happy to get married and get divorced many times over, well, then this broadcast isn't for you. But if you want to find a partner who's right for you and with whom one can find harmony and happiness to the degree possible, then let's examine this question. A marriage made in heaven is a marriage between two people who are attracted by their soul qualities. Okay, what are soul qualities? Well, it isn't the handsome bow tie or the pretty shade of lipstick, you can be sure. There's a story about Paramahansa Yogananda. I'll have to shorten the story for the broadcast, but basically he told this student of his that the woman that he was going to marry was a woman over yonder who, to his eyes, was not all that attractive in her physical attractiveness. And he said, "Oh, no, master, not her." Well, it was her. And in fact, he had a happy marriage. Other attempts he had to follow other women who are more attractive ended in failure, not marriage, but in the dating situation. And so soul qualities are those qualities that are positive, obviously, qualities of nobility, compassion, wisdom, calmness, unselfishness, intelligence. Yes, intelligence. Vitality and energy. I don't mean just health, because after all, what's the expression, in sickness and in health, we can't predict a person's future health karma, but vitality and energy, willingness, all those qualities that somehow match with one's own. Now, it can be opposites attract or like begets like. It's a both and reality. Sometimes our partner has qualities that help us in respect to qualities we need to be strengthened in. On the other hand, you don't want to be dependent or codependent either. There need to be qualities that you share as well. It can't just be opposites. There's too much danger in such a thing. So it's a mixture. Now, can this be done with the mind? Well, at the beginning of this, I said, not really. This is why it's okay to go to a wise astrologer and just see what astrology happens to tell you. But a wise person is far better. And that's why some churches, for example, have marriage counseling. But in any case, one of the best things is not to be in a hurry. Spend time together, get to know each other in your ups and downs, in your moods, in your aspirations. Now, nowadays, that often takes the form of cohabitation. Well, there's nothing I can do about that, but needless to say, that's a commitment that is typically in advance of what I would call getting to know one another. I think it's much better to retain your separate domiciles, if you will, and get to know each other regardless of any other aspects of that relationship in today's culture. Getting to know each other, having a wise person who presumably knows each of you to meet with both separately and also together. In other words, take your time. Be at least as conscious as you can be under the circumstances. But the truth is, as you come together and make the commitment in marriage, especially in today's culture, which is so restless and etc., time will have to tell. But at the very least, take your time and get to know each other, and have a practice of meditation. Pray for guidance, whether this or that person is the best person. I know in today's culture, people have many different relationships in the so-called dating world, and I'm not going to comment on that. Wouldn't do any good if I did. But in some ways, it can help a person to be more conscious. In other ways, it develops habits that are not helpful. That's all I can say. Take your time, have a life of prayer and meditation, look for soul qualities rather than physical beauty or sexual magnetism or romantic magnetism, and get to know each other. All right. Best of luck to you. Okay.